and welcome to another short video on accounting. In this one, we will be talking about accounts receivable, or also known as trade receivables. We will briefly look at how to make journal entries for accounts receivable or AR for short form. I will be using the term AR or TR, and what AR and TR is actually. So accounts receivable or AR in short is basically when company sells goods on credit. In other words, the company has sold the good or performed the service, but has not received cash against it. The company will either receive the cash in future, or it may not receive the cash in future. If the company does not receive the cash in future, that will be called a bad debt. Right? That will be called a bad debt. And then there is accounting for bad debts as well. So let's look into how to make the journal entry, how to make the journal entry for accounts receivable. It's relatively simple. It occurs when company has sold the good and has not received the cash, right? So what company would be doing would be debit the trade receivable, or equally accounts receivable, and then credit revenue. When company receives cash, the cash, the company will debit cash and then credit the accounts receivable. So this would be the entry when goods sold on credit, and this would be the entry when company receives the cash. Plus there is an useful accounting ratio on accounts receivable that's called accounts receivable turnover. The way you calculate accounts receivable turnover is you take net credit sales, because it's about accounts receivable, so it has to be credit sales. So you have to separate out. You have to be very careful. You should not take cash sales. It has to be credit sales. And then you divide the number by average accounts receivable. So this is basically called AR turnover ratio. Then you can convert this into days, which basically tells you how many days it takes for the company to collect cash. So this is a very useful financial ratio for investors to understand companies credit policies, and in how many days the company receives their cash from accounts receivable. Right. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching this video. If this video was helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more short videos like these. Thank you very much for watching.